Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Yeah, watch out while we get kind of rearranged here for a
There we
second.
go.
Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey.
It's your president and your VP, and we're back in our normal filming location. And we're continuing with Foreign Film February. And per a request that we got on a previous video, Requiem for a Dream, guys. If you haven't seen it already, go back and check it out. It's pretty good. Due to a request that we got on that video, we decided that we would check out Oldboy. Now, Oldboy is a 2003 South Korean action thriller, and first impressions is
why?
Oh boy! This movie. Okay, it debuted on November 21st, 2003, and it was made for around $3 million, and it grossed about $15 million, probably mainly in South Korea. Don't quote me on that, guys, because we're not experts when it comes to foreign films or nothing. But, so there's that. It was the winner of a bunch of awards, including some at the 2004 Cannes Film Festival.
I think it's pronounced Kanai.
They could be. I don't know. I'm probably mispronouncing. And if I am, guys, so sue me on this one. But, we'll just kind of dive right into this. So there's this guy, and his name is, I'm going to try to pronounce this as best as I can here, Oldboy Soo.
Or Oldboy So. We're not South Korean.
We're doing our best here.
Disclaimer, I don't know if you know, we're not South Korean.
And I'm not going to get all of these names right. So for the purposes, we'll just refer to him as the main character.
Yeah, kind of like what we did with...
kind of like what we did with Train to Busan. Now, why, guys? Okay. His love interest, I can somewhat pronounce, and her name is Midu. Okay, here we go.
Yep, okay. So here...
The main character gets kidnapped by the antagonist. We'll just refer to him as that.
Yeah.
And he is imprisoned and caged for like 15 years. And he's fed just barely enough to basically survive a steady diet of fried dumplings, actually. And it's a distinctive type of fried dumplings. This is important that you guys understand that. It's kind of weird because certain aspects of certain points of the movie are going to tie together, and you really will need to be paying attention. But I'm not so sure you're going to want to be paying attention.
Yeah, so, he gets released after 15 years. And we should say that Oldboy is a loose adaptation of the Japanese manga of the same name, in which he was basically kidnapped and imprisoned for 10 years. But in this film, it's actually 15.
So he's released, and he's basically released on like a rooftop, and he he immediately more or less gets into a fight, and he asks himself mentally, 15 years of imaginary training, is it useful? And turns out it is.
Yeah. So he then he's like staring at this, I don't remember what it was, but then this guy comes and gives him a phone and wallet, right?
That's pretty important, actually.
Yeah. And he's like, don't ask any questions, and then he walks off. And then he goes and he sees, and then he goes to this sushi place in which he meets a sushi chef
named Midu, who is also going to be his love interest. And, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to power through this one because,
Yeah.
guys, it's a good movie, but what we're gonna describe here is it's something.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, okay, he's in the sushi restaurant and he meets the girl named Midu,
Yeah.
and they kind of have an attraction towards each other, and it's weird, okay, because they don't really at first until he his phone starts ringing, and there's some phrases that are being used, and these are important because, okay, spoiler alert. Just a little heads up here. There are certain phrases that will trigger certain responses. Now, how this whole process happens, we'll get into that. So, he's on the phone, and Midu makes kind of contact and initiates, and then takes him back to her place.
Yeah.
And there's a very uncomfortable scene, guys, fair warning, where our main character proves that he's not all that great of a person because at this stage he's like animal. He's like basically reduced to an animal, and he slowly kind of builds himself back up to
Yeah.
a certain point.
So as we go along, he meets this guy that's like in charge of like a security room, and there's an uncomfortable scene where he takes a hammer, and it made me and Dad actually kind of like, oh
I
no,
couldn't really
don't.
watch it because it
Yeah,
involves a hammer and his teeth.
and the removal of teeth.
And we'll just leave it at that because I'm not going to go into graphic detail on that one.
Yeah.
I okay. Now there are some very fun bits, like the part where he's fighting people and he just takes out like numerous people, like we said
Yeah.
about the imaginary training.
And
Now with the incident where he's like, and you're going to be like, no, dude, don't be doing that. He's like 15 years of imaginary training. Is it worth it, or is it useful? Turns out in this case, it's not useful.
yeah,
But our and our main character's soon to be girlfriend is like, hey, when the time is right, when you hear me sing this song, I'll be ready for you, and we can commence with the loving. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah, and so then we, like I said, there's this really cool scene actually, and this is why it's like really cool. There's this really cool scene where he is in a hallway, and there's numerous guys, and he's like fighting them, right? And it's this really cool scene because it's all done in one take, and apparently it took like 13 takes for them to get it right. From what I've heard, like the hallway fight scene, it took like 13 takes. And yeah, and so then like then the antagonist dude, he's like, well, you got until July 5th in order to figure out why I imprisoned you and all that.
Yeah.
And soon
But that's not the question he should have been asking, is it?
No.
Because the question, as it turns out, is not why he imprisoned him, but why did he let him go in the first place?
Yeah. So and then like I said, he kind of like figures it out that like
slowly but surely
a previous classmate who had kind of like self-deleted herself is kind of involved in all that, and then we get to see that.
Yeah, and it is
Weird, messed up. It's
so him and his friend get together, and when she does her thing, and they get together, but as it turns out, they were being recorded. And this comes into play.
Yeah. So like we see that like the main character figures out that the girl that had died is actually the antagonist's sister, and then we see that his sister and the antagonist, yeah. That's all we're gonna leave it up to the imagination, or
Yeah.
just watch the film and you'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Just watch it, guys. We're not telling you anything that isn't in there, and okay, so that happens.
And then we see.
So the antagonist had kidnapped him because of all this, and then set him free so that he could be hypnotized into falling in love with, well, I'm just going to come out and say it, his own daughter.
Yep. We see a photo. We see a photo book, and it's him younger and his daughter, and then we see his daughter is growing up, and is growing up and up and up, and then we eventually see the big reveal.
See,
meaning, and he tricked him and hypnotized him into, with his daughter.
He hypnotized his daughter into falling in love with her own father. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you see, it's because the antagonist and his sister, well, as we said, just watch the film and you'll know. His sister got, with child. So, but does he blame himself for it? And his member, if you will? No. He blames the main character's tongue for it.
Yeah.
So, the main character is now crushed with the revelation. And he is begging and pleading that the antagonist do not tell his now daughter the truth. But the daughter has been kidnapped by the main antagonist, and there's this box in front of him.
And he pleads
gives him this phone, and he tells her, "Hey, do not open that box. Whatever you do, don't open that box. Do not open that box." So, has to back it down, though. He starts pleading with the antagonist. "Hey, please don't tell her, man. I'll do whatever you want.
I'll be your dog," and stuff. And he starts barking and then licking his shoe, and then eventually he goes over and grabs a pair of scissors. And then he takes a cloth on it and put it on his tongue, and you can kind of fill in the gaps there. What happens with his tongue with those scissors? So
as this is happening, though, the daughter does indeed open the box.
No, she doesn't. It's something different. She doesn't open the box, Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of gets confusing in a way, guys.
Yeah, it gets a little jumbled there toward the end of it.
And then, the main character then goes to the lady that hypnotized him in the first place.
Wait.
No, this is the ending. Oh, yeah, we forgot.
It is important.
The antagonist sees a flashback of how his sister died, and then he feels super guilty about that. And takes a pow that he had, a pew, right? And self-deletes himself.
But one other thing about that, though. The antagonist had told the dude he had given him, he's like, "Hey, man, I've got this heart, and I can, actually self-delete myself at any time I want, and you won't get your vengeance." And so, to mess with the guy even further.
Yeah, he straight up, or the main antagonist, he, the guy grabbed the thing that's supposed to stop his heart, and he presses it, and it doesn't do anything. Instead, plays the recording of him and his daughter. Yeah.
Yep.
And that, straight up breaks the guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the hypnotist lady, and she says, you'll be split into two. There's the old Odesu who doesn't have the secret, and then there's the monster, which is his alter ego, if you will, who will keep the secret. And each step, the monster will age slowly but surely, and will die. But we see at the very end that I think they implied the one that actually stayed is the monster.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Guys, what can we say, though? That there's a lot of great positives, and that it's a really well written story, actually, and you have
I
to
actually
pay
get why.
close attention to it. And thank you for suggesting that we check this out, and we're glad that we did. And we can talk a minute about the way that the whole film was shot and the cinematography
Oh
behind
yeah,
all,
the
because it's
camera
a
work.
very beautiful film
Yeah,
in that regard.
the camera work, the way that the film is shot, just all of it. Like there's the scene transitions and stuff. There's certain scene transitions that are just really really good, actually.
Now, we might have, as because we just gave the full on plot and the synopsis and everything, and you guys might not want to check it out. Of course, as always, and I know this doesn't even go without saying, but we do it anyways. Parents screen it, of course, ahead of time. But from what we had described, yeah, no, not for
Not this
children,
time. Not this time.
not for children at all.
Maybe our next film you would probably let your child watch, but not this one.
Yeah, maybe the next one. Um, but the acting was really, really good. And fun fact, we kind of maybe forgot to mention this as well, that the movie itself is actually part of a trilogy called the Vengeance Trilogy.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them, and we might actually check out the other 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Especially since they actually feature a lot of the same recurring cast. So some of the actors that we saw in this film will be in the others.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, guys, and the musical score and the way they set the whole thing up, and in a way, and I get this because it was based off of a manga. So, yeah, guys, the way the movie is shown, it is kind of like a comic book. So,
yeah,
in that regard, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good film. I give this one 3 3/4 out of 5. What say you?
honestly, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
All right. So, yeah, guys, I mean, no real arbitrary reason. It's just I felt like at times, like, ooh, I felt a little icky, honestly.
Yeah.
And I know that that's kind of like a personal bias, but hey, but as always, because if you're new to this channel, there's something that you guys should know about this, and that is our opinions do not matter, except when they actually do, because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. Yeah,
I think we flubbed that up.
I kind of flubbed that up a bit. So
right.
Let's try it again. Our opinions do not matter, except when they actually do, because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. So with that being said, guys, stay tuned where probably the next time in this installment of our foreign film February, almost flubbed that one up too, because that's kind of a tricky thing to say, guys. Godzilla -1.
Yes.
So
I'm so happy.
Super excited.
That's gonna be
for
like
this.
our soul cleanser after this one is Godzilla -1.
Yeah, guys, that was also really really fun, and it had been a while. If you guys could tell on our catchphrase there at the end, those of you who have been following us, welcome back. Though we're in this full force, so you can expect more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, there's only one thing left to say, and that, of course, is
peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.